Hi, I'm Stephen Levy and I'm the Managing Director of Heat Outdoors. I want to talk to you about the different types of lamps we use in our outdoor heaters. Effectively, there's two main types. One is gold and the other is carbon. They have slightly different uses, slightly different features. The questions we're always getting asked is it a quartz lamp? Is it a tungsten lamp? Is it a halogen lamp? Is it etc.? So the first thing we need to recognise is that both gold lamps and carbon lamps, they're all quartz lamps. That means that the glass on the lamp itself is made from glass containing quartz. They are all halogen lamps, and that means that the gas inside around the element is halogen in all of the lamps. They're all infrared lamps, although the difference between the carbon and the gold is a different type, a different wavelength of infrared, which we'll talk about in a second. The only real difference between the lamps is that one has an element inside, the bit that glows red, made of tungsten, and the other has one that's made of carbon. Each of these different materials has its own peculiar qualities and makes a difference to the way the lamp functions and the way it works for you. So to start off with, we'll look at the gold lamp. Now, the first thing is there are different types of gold lamp out there. There's a standard lamp, that's the really bright one you often see outside a pub. Everybody's illuminated in orange or red. And then more recently, we've got better technologies with low glare and ultra low glare, which is the majority of the heaters now, and they give off about 95% less light than the standard lamp. They, to all intents and purposes, are the same, they look the same, and they give out the same amount of heat, but they don't light everything up, and that's why often they're preferred by most customers. A carbon lamp works in a slightly different way. Because the carbon itself inside has to be wound much, much thicker, you end up with a lamp that instead of being maybe this in diameter is a lot fatter. You also have the ability to make much, much bigger lamps when you're using a carbon element inside it. So when you look at the heaters that are produced using the two, generally a gold lamp heater is going to be smaller, have a smaller element, about 355 millimeters, or maybe a little bit longer. A carbon lamped unit, often the lamps are this big or even longer. In practice, the main difference between these two types of lamps is the way they emit the heat. So with a gold lamp, it's emitting short-wave infrared heat. Now, that is the same way as the sun transmits its heat to us. So if you're crossing the road and you go from the shady side into the sunny side, you suddenly feel warmer, even though the air coming down the street is at the same temperature. And that's because the short-wave rays from the sun are touching your skin, and that makes you feel warm. That's how shortwave infrared heating works. That's why it's perfect in an environment when the air is moving, because it doesn't use air at all to conduct the heat. So even if there's a hurricane blowing between you and the heater, it will make no difference to the amount of heat that you're feeling on your body. And that's why they are generally the preferred option for most outdoor heating solutions. A carbon lamp, in comparison, gives off a medium wave heat. There is an element of shortwave in there as well. Now, with medium wave heat, it is subject to air movement. So if you've got an environment where the air is moving, a lot of the heat that you're producing is going to get blown away. So for that reason, it's great in situations where you've maybe got a walled garden or a walled area where the air isn't moving particularly. It's great in gazebos, pergolas, conservatories, all those types of places where there isn't a lot of air movement. But if you are somewhere that can get windy or you can have air movement, you really do need to go for a gold lamp. A carbon lamp is the sort of lamp that will be used more in a therapeutic environment as well. It penetrates the skin deeper. And for that reason, it has perhaps a nicer feel to it. It doesn't feel like you're standing in sunlight. It's more of a gentler heat, which is, I think, really pleasant. Now, it takes maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds for a carbon lamp to come on and come up to full heat. With a gold lamp, you flick it and bang, you've got instant heat. In the real world, 10, 15 seconds doesn't really make an awful lot of difference, but that you'd notice when you turn them on. To wrap up, we often get asked, is it a quartz lamp, is it a halogen lamp? All of these lamps are quartz, they use quartz glass. All of these lamps are halogen, and all of these lamps are infrared. The only difference is one has tungsten inside it as the heating element, the other one has carbon inside of it. As I say to all of our customers, we're here to help. If you have any doubts, you're not quite sure, then please call us and we can tell you what's exactly right for your need.